Okay, so we should see that up on the screen now. Hello, my name's Adrian Pargeter. I work in the R&D department at Kingspan, and I've been responsible for the fundamental research and implementation of a new product which we've just launched, which is a vacuum insulation product. And we're working with Nottingham University and the others on the HERB project, and how to utilize the advantages of vacuum insulation, particularly in retrofit applications. Little timeline there of the use of vacuum as an insulator. It's been well known that the conduction and convection is severely hampered with a vacuum. And this was first really utilized by the vacuum flask by Sir James during the 1890s. Then over the years, the use of vacuum as an insulator was developed, where panels were first introduced, and then commercial applications for these panels, particularly refrigerators and freezers and cold transportation applications were used. In the late 1990s, the US Department of Housing evaluated the potential for VIPs and recommended there was potential and should be looked at. And this developed over the next few years, really, where in 2005 we saw the iconic Munich building, which is the first two-story building to feature VIPs as part of the facade. And then in 2012, Kingspan launched a VIP product which is brand named Optim-R. Optim-R has a thermal conductivity of 7 milliwatts. This is aged, it's not the initial values. You might have seen on Safa's slides where he got some very low values of a 0.003 up to 11. Some of those would be the initial value, but when you've aged it, our product gives you 7 milliwatts. One of the problems with vacuum insulation compared to the other commonly available insulations is that it can't be cut on site. It needs to retain its vacuum. Without the vacuum, it's still very good, typically 20 milliwatts, but it needs to retain the vacuum in order to retain that 7 milliwatt thermal performance. And two of the ways we're using to combat that is, one, we're offering a wide range of sizes. We're going to be capable of making and supplying to the industry 300 by 300 up to 1200 by 600 millimeter size panels with a wide range of thicknesses, 20 millimeters up to 60 millimeters. And that will allow us then, through our design service, to optimize the coverage of Optim-R for any given elevation. So we get the details from our clients, drawings of the elevation of the particular application, and we can provide them a plan of which sizes to put where to optimize that coverage. This slide again is similar to the one that Safa showed you, but I think brings it home a little bit when you start to look at it in comparison and compare the R value. This is an R value of 6, and where you can see there in traditional materials such as mineral fiber, you would need 220 millimeters. With Optim-R, that can be reduced right down to 40 millimeters. And I think it's quite obvious there the advantages of this space saving, particularly in retrofit, where the fabric already exists and you want to protrude and extrude as little as possible from that fabric. With several applications we've now launched and have full technical details of. One of them is flooring. Again, a lot of heat is lost through particularly solid concrete floors, and when you're doing a retrofit, that's one of the areas you can definitely look at to improve the thermal performance and reduce the energy required. So by using a VIP, you can minimize the amount of intrusion needed into the room. So this will save things like moving radiators or skirting boards or even door lintels if you go with other alternative insulations where the thicknesses could be quite high, or if you wanted to use those, you'd have to dig it out to stop you from having to replace the skirting boards and get the U value you require. And there's an example of the design layout that we're offering our customers. You can see there in the top left-hand corner the optimised design with the sizes that we offer in Optim-R. And then by way as a comparison, we've looked at an Edwardian house, solid concrete floor, perimeter area ratio of around 0.3. To achieve a U value of 20 watts per meter square Kelvin, you'd need only a 20 millimeter thick Optim-R panel. The alternative would be to use, say, EPS, which is a commonly used flooring insulate. For that, you would need 95 millimeters. And you can see there that that's 75 millimeters of saving, encroaching into the room. Another application we've developed for retrofit is external wall insulation. Again, you saw that on Safa's presentation. It is a great way to improve the thermal efficiency of existing buildings with solid or cavity wall and solid block work. You can see on the image there, we bond the vacuum insulation panel to the outer fabric, and then we use infill panels, Optim-R flex panels, which surround the VIP and allow a mechanical fix through to the wall to allow the different finishes, brick slips, render, etc. And when we calculate the thermal performance of that wall, we take those infill panels into consideration, and we do basically a weighted average reading to optimise the thermal performance from the VIP. Again, this stops potential remedial work. If you use conventional materials and you're looking for particularly low U values, then that might mean you're going to be protruding 100, 150 millimeters out, which means that your eaves might not cover it. And so then remedial work to the roof might be necessary. There might be also space constraints down the sides of alleyways or gaps between terraced housing, for example, which is a particular problem we've seen on the Herb project, where we're looking at Victorian properties. And if you try and achieve some decent U values with anything other than vacuum insulation, you start to impede on the access down the sides. You can't get bins down, etc., etc. Another application is roofing and terracing, where again similar considerations are taking part. We don't want to increase the current roof height too much because of parapets and other planning restrictions. You want to maintain a nice even transition between indoor and outdoor levels, particularly on terraces. Again, a thin solution is what is being called for there, and we offer a range of construction build-ups for green roofs, metal concrete roof with no ceiling, etc. And the next slide shows you the installation of vacuum insulation panels on a terrace, on a roof terrace. And you can see there what we've got there. The bottom layer is a bituminous vapor control layer. It's about 5 millimeters thick. The VIP is placed right on top of that. It's bonded to it, and then on top of the VIP, we've got, in this case, we've got PIR. It's a tapered PIR, allowing for rainfall. But there are various options you can use to finish off the top of the product. And obviously, on top of that would be the water control layer. So those are the ones we've currently developed. There are future applications we're working on, particularly rain screen and internal wall insulation, and this is a big part of the Herb project. As I mentioned before, there are external wall restrictions. So we're looking with the Mark Group, who are also part of Herb, to look at a cost-effective, simple method of installing VIP as part of the internal wall insulation solution. And then going forward, we're also looking at inverted roofs, window reveals, timber frames, floating floors, anywhere where the U values are reducing and the restriction on space it becomes critical. So that really concludes the presentation. I'd just like to finish off by just covering a few of the points. Optim-R has an insulation performance of around 5 times better than the other insulating materials that are out on the market. So this enables architects to come with thinner solutions. It's a real problem solver where the architect doesn't want to compromise between thermal performance and space. The design service allows us to provide full optimization and design characteristics of a given elevation. And that means really that the low U values that are being called by current legislation and legislation we think is going to come in this year in 2016, those low U values can be achieved by using Optim-R. And just at the bottom of the slide there, I've just put, if anybody's got any technical queries, I've put the technical phone number there and the technical email address for direct contact. Otherwise, you can look on our website at kingspaninsulation.co.uk for the technical data, which is available in PDF format. That concludes the presentation. I hope you found it enjoyable and informative, and I'd like to hand over to Philip. Thank you.